A retirement portfolio for your consideration. This is interesting. I've been thinking about this. So this is going to be a 3-bucket approach, all right? Not what I like the barbell, cash and basically VTI. I've been going a lot in the last probably year or so to Wellington because I think the bonds actually give you I'm worried about Japan, man. No other way around that. And if we go to a Japan-like economy, the bonds in Wellington will give us a reprieve of what the VTI will do. Even if I tell you, if we go to something like Japan, we got to have some bonds. And so to hedge, you should have some bonds ultimately. So 4 years of cash and VTI, that would have rescued you in Japan. And I'm not saying it's going to be as bad as Japan, but if that were to happen, the bonds will give you sufficient, at least a lifeboat, if that makes sense. All right, so what we're doing, so basically my issue is we have 4 years of cash, essentially, is kind of what my thought process was, and the rest in VTI. I'm saying, like maybe less than 4 years of cash in Wellington. And so this is what we're going to do here. So I got Becky and John's sample again. So here's Becky and John's sample. All right, and how old we got these guys? I can't remember. We got them at 60. All right, so Becky's 60. She robbed the cradle. John is 60. Becky's 61. John's 60. We're only going to have them living for 25 years, all right? Because the idea that the vast majority of us are going to live till 90, it just seems preposterous to me. And if we're in a job where they're mandating things into your body that you don't want to partake on, and you're sitting there thinking, I got 30 years to plan for retirement, I don't know. I struggle with that, frankly, quite a bit. Because I'm like, is there any evidence that the bulk of us are going to live for 30 years in retirement? The answer is unequivocally no. So I'm just saying 25 years. I think that's actually, in this case, I'm just going to go with 25 years. You can make up your decision as you see fit. You might do less, you might do more. It's completely up to you. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say we're going to go to a profile net worth. And I have them with $500,000. All right, so I'm not, I wanted to have $1 million, but most people say, yeah, no one has $1 million. Just percentages, but anyway, I get it. So we'll do $500,000, and you see we got 3 different things here. We got Becky's IRA is the $250 in Wellington. So we got $250 in Wellington. We got money market fund, $100,000 in cash. And then we got her Roth and VTI. All right, hope that makes sense. So 250, 150. This might be a little bit too much cash. We'll come back around that. So I just want to kind of draw this. We almost have a 3-bucket portfolio. Well, we don't. We literally have a 3-bucket portfolio. Cash, IRA, Roth. All right, so we got these 3 buckets here. Cash is 100, 250 in IRA, and 150 in Roth. Look, I'm just using this as an example, if that makes sense. It's just that simple. A lot of you aren't going to have 150 in a Roth. Some of you do. More actually do than I'm surprised about, which is great. All right, so let's try this. If I can pause this. All right, good. All right, so we got. We're going to go to investments. Here we go. And the target doesn't mean anything. This is just what we're shooting for. 6238. So a little bit less aggressive than the Wellington fund as a whole, but pretty close, man, pretty close. I like this mix. Now, let's take a look at what tax allocation is. It should be, yeah, there you go. So one, in this case, is it just aligns perfectly, and that would be nice. All right, so now we're going to go to retirement. What else do I want to do? Oh, yeah, we're going to go to cash flows, retirement. And what we're going to see is we only have a 60% probability of success, and we're leaving $47,000 in today's numbers. Now, that in of itself doesn't necessarily bother me so much. I'd like to see it higher. But we're going to go to retirement details. You can see this is the retirement spending stages. So we're the first 25,000, 25,000, 25,000. We're taking 5% a year off. 25,000, 5% a year off. Then we're dropping it by 10% once they hit 70. And then we're dropping it by another 10% when they hit 80. Now, there's a lot to go in here. The BLS numbers say you drop it. Most people drop it by more than 10% when they get older, actually 22 and 21 respectively. But I'm going to split the difference and say not only are we not increasing our spending, we are increasing our spending with inflation, but it actually dropped by 10% once we hit 70. It dropped by another 10% at 80. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. Again, we're not doing Social Security. We're just saying 5% a year from the portfolio, adjusted for inflation at 2.2% is what we're doing, 2%. And then at 70 and 80, it'll drop off by 10% each time. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, that's it. So we have no health care. What about health care? Oh my goodness, it's just for simplicity to say we need 5% a year from this portfolio. Portfolio is $500,000. We're pulling 5% a year off. I don't care what you spend it on. You could roll up freaking dope with it. I don't care. I'm just saying this is what we're trying to accomplish. So you see expenditures 5%, 25, adjusting for inflation, adjusting for inflation, adjusting for inflation. Then we hit right here, 69 is 29,000, and then at 70 drops by 10%. So we're still above where we started with because it's dropped it for adjusted for inflation. And then we go down to 80, and we go from 79, we had 32,000 to 80 with 29. So again, it's going up, then it's dropping, going up, and then dropping until we're dead. All right, so let's take a look. What we have, I want to show you where the money's coming from, and we're going to go down to withdrawals from accounts. So we're taking it from, I can't figure out how to do the guardrails yet. When I figured that out, I'll do another video on it where we take the money from the portfolio when it's not getting killed. It seems like the software is going to allow us to do this. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But anyway, so in this case, we're taking it from the cash. Then we're going to take it from the IRA. And then we're taking it from the money market, taking it from the Wellington, and then we're going to take it from the Roth down here. All right. So basically, the IRA runs out in 2041, and then we're going into the Roth. And if we had a linear rate of return, what is we given for a rate of return? I forgot. We're given a 4.6. So only 4.6% rate of return. So if you have a linear rate of return, a 4.6 a year without any kind of down years or way up years, just 4.6 a year, we would have at the end of the day, hold on a second, we would have accounts, we'd have $243,000 left all in a Roth. All right, that's just if you had 4.6 annualized each and every year. You're not going to have that, man. So don't go into that. So what we're going to look at instead is our median, and we're going to die with a median of $47,000. Which means 50% of the time we have more, 50% of the time we have less. But we're also going to see that 5% of the time we ran out of money by 81, 5% of the time we had 622,000 by 81. That's in today's numbers, so inflation's already been adjusted. 25% of the time we ran out of money by 83, but 25% of the time we had at least $276,000, and we still have $99,000 adjusted for inflation in today's dollars and the median. So that's still, I mean, look at that. Our median is still in the positive realm. So that, I tell you, man, I'm like, that's interesting. None of the Social Security stuff matters at all. So I said, okay, what if we just dropped our expenses by, we're going to do $24,000 a month as opposed to $24,000 a year as opposed to $25,000 a year. All right, so check this out. So we'll take our trusty calculator, 24,000. That'll be a 4.8 divided by 5. Oops, 24,000 divided by 500,000. That's 4.8% distribution rate as opposed to 5. What if we did that? Ooh, now we're at 64% with a median of $79,000. Interesting. So then we say, okay, I like that. Now remember, we have a 10.3% standard deviation on roughly a, what's that, 4.6% rate of return. So 4.6 times 3, 4.6 times 3 is, we'll just say a 14%. 10.3 times 3, is 31%. So in any given year, we could be down about 26% or up about 36%. So almost identical to Wellington. All right, so pretty high volatility, but pretty low average rates of return. And that looks pretty, that looks pretty good to me, man. I'm okay with that. 64%, heck yeah. Now, interestingly enough, what if we go to cash flow? What if we go to like this, profile? We said, instead of this, we're going to put right here. We're going to put another $50,000 into Wellington. 50,000 divided by 50.44. That's 991 shares plus the current amount of shares we have there, plus 4956, 5947. So we're going to change the number of shares there, 5947. All right, so that gives us, what was that, $300,000 bucks, and we're going to change this to 50,000. So that will give us right there 2 years of cash, plus the barbell, plus the Wellington, plus the Roth. So instead of 4 years cash, 2 years of cash. Because remember, cash only pays 1/2%. Now we're at 68 and 64 respectively. Isn't that interesting? I tell you, man, there's a lot to be said about that for sure. So we're going to go to cash flows. This proposed plan. Let's go to the current. We're taking 5% a year out again. All right, 1 second. I was thinking. There we go. And I want to go to withdrawals. So we got 2 years of cash right there. The rest will come from the IRA until we hit 80. We're taking it from the Roth. I tell you, that's a great plan, man. But Josh, you only have a 68 probability, or basically a mid-60s probability of success. But don't you see? This is the reason we're doing this, is to hedge against the Japan economy, i.e. low returns, low inflation, low growth, bad returns on stocks. So 68% surviving until we're 85 years old for 25 years, relative to being forced to do things you don't want to do, or you're literally losing your mind or losing your physical stature because you're being beaten to death emotionally. I'm comfortable with that. Now, I can't make that decision for you, but man, I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, what if we're running low a couple of years? We just batten down the hatches and eat rice and beans, as Dave Ramsey says. Is that the worst thing? No. There are other things that are a hell of a lot worse than that. And I'm using low rates of return, man. 4.6. Yeah. I mean, look, you can get the perfect plan. I tell you, I deal with people all the time who have analysis or paralysis by analysis. You know who I'm talking about, who I just talked to from California. But love you to death. But at some point, it seems to me, you just got to bite the bullet and say, yeah, I'm doing this. And if things go south, remember, you never run out of money. You're still going to have Social Security. We're not using that here. But, man, I'm telling you. And I can't figure out how to do the reverse RMD thing in this. I'm not sure I can. But more to come. But anyway, I think this is a great portfolio to consider. Prevent Japan, because you can't really prevent Japan. I mean, people, even if they had bonds, were still destitute after 20 years. But if we go to Japan, all the things you have planned for are just thrown to the wolves, man. It doesn't matter. So if we don't go to Japan, and instead we go to a more of a normal, what we've used to in America, then you're freaking golden. Because this would be way undervaluing the returns that you'll get. So you're kind of hedging at both things. If you want a perfect plan, I just don't think you can get that. Because that means you're not spending enough, frankly. All right. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.